And to that Xbox man, I say, write my jokes for me then, man. I don't have time. You think I write my jokes beforehand? No, this is all original content off the top of my head. I do not think before I speak.
Surprise.
Surprise! You actually didn't scare me this time.
I know. I'm so proud of you. She's been anticipating it.
Rarely happens. It's usually a big jump scare.
I know. It's weird because, like, you should always be anticipating it because you know it's coming, but you never do.
I usually am, like, looking at chat and, like, getting stuff set up and thinking about what I want to say, and then, boom, voice. Because, like, I can't see when you're getting stuff set up. I don't have the power that you have. I don't have the control that you have.
I did see you were typing in promos right when I was typing in a promo.
Yeah, I was. I was like, well, Mike hasn't gotten this yet, so I'm going to do it. But then you pasted yours faster than I could.
I'm actually, you know what? To make my life significantly easier, starting next time, you will be doing promos while I do the rest of the setup, please.
Hey, fine.
It will make my life so much easy.
Like I had to play an entire video game for this episode to happen.
Hey now.
I was playing this game for hours last night and...
Hold on. We lost her.
Did I freeze again?
Yep, you're back. We got you back.
I don't know what's happening to my internet today. He's not having a good time. Apologies in advance because I'm going to be talking a lot this episode. I have a lot to say. I'm going to be taking the lead on this one. So apologies if that happens because y'all are just going to have to deal with it.
We do have some updates and news shit to talk about as always first. But more important than any of that, this is the first episode where we're live both on Twitch and YouTube at the same time.
I realized that Blake and I were looking at our YouTube channel before this and I realized we had one reel or short, whatever they're called on YouTube. And it's me being funny and apparently an Xbox bro did not think my jokes were funny enough and I need to start writing better jokes. And to that Xbox man, I say, write my jokes for me then, man. I don't have time. You think I write my jokes beforehand? No, this is all original content off the top of my head. I do not think before I speak.
Yeah, this is now going to be our next thing that's going on TikTok and YouTube Shorts, that exact rant.
Oh, I hope Xbox Bro from 9 months ago comes back to debate me about the merits of the Starfield spaceships versus the Kingdom Hearts gummy ships. Because if you want to turn that into a real debate, I don't think you'll like where it ends up.
It's not going to go well for you. At least you can fly one of them. The one you can fly, it's not very good, but at least you can fly one of them.
The one that I can fly, certainly, absolutely. That's what makes it really good.
Speaking of Xbox, it's actually good that you call him Xbox Bro. Probably our biggest news story of the day is...
What did Xbox do now?
Huh?
What did Xbox do now?
I mean, it's nothing. It was bound to happen. It's... You know about the 360. The Xbox 360.
Sure, it was a console once upon a time.
It was. Probably the only Xbox console I actually like. And it, as much as I hate to give it credit, it was the introduction to digital downloads on a wider scale than most others. Sony kind of had it, but it wasn't as good. But the Xbox 360 online store has officially gone down as of Monday. It no longer exists as of Monday.
What year did it start? That's a long time.
It is a long... Well, the PS3 store is still up, and so is the Vita store. Well, the Vita is different. The PS3 store...
Yeah, but every store Nintendo has is gone, aside from the Switch.
It's true, actually. No, you're right. The Wii's been gone for a while.
That's right. Like, in comparison to Nintendo systems, like, the only digital store you can get on Nintendo now is on the Switch. Every other one is shut down. So the fact that the 360 is still going is pretty impressive.
I'm curious to know, because... Xbox touts on how they're backwards compatibility friendly and all that. So is it just the store on the 360 system itself is gone, or are all 360 games off the internet? Like you can't buy 360 games anymore. That's what I want to know, because it's really not that big of a deal if you can still buy 360 games on your Xbox One or Xbox Series X or whatever you have, you know, like if I can still buy an Xbox 360 game there, then who cares?
It's probably specifically the 360's online system. So I assume if you have an Xbox One, you could probably, because right, like they don't shut down like on the Nintendo Switch eShop, you can still buy some stuff that was available on the Wii shop. They're not the same shop. I
Yeah.
assume it's the server it runs on, and I'm assuming it's freeing up server space or like maintenance costs or things like that of having
Yeah.
the server.
I mean, it is slightly different only because I guess for the Wii and the Wii U that is fully it is a 1-to-1. But like the virtual console stuff is slightly different. But yeah, in this case, it's the same game. If you already owned it, you bought it on 360, you can just download it on your Series X later in life. So yeah, I would imagine they still have the games. I don't know.
Interesting.
I would
I guess you'd
imagine.
have to. But still, I think that's a pretty impressive run for a online store for the fact that Xbox has been paying for those servers and that maintenance for as long as they have. We know Nintendo wouldn't do it.
PS3's is still up. It was set to shut down, I think, 2022. Then people got mad, and then they kept it up. That and the Vita, and it's still running. But they do not give a shit, and it is slow, and it is clunky, and it is terrible.
But it's alive. It's on life support.
It
They
is-
haven't pulled the plug yet.
It's on hospice. It is on in hospice care right now. It's almost done. I give it another
kicking.
couple months.
Still going.
That one's going to be more detrimental. Like I said, the 360 is not as big because you can just re-download those games because it is so hard to emulate or make PS3 games backwards compatible because it's a whole different architecture. Once those are gone, if you don't have physical, they're gone because you can't just download a PS3 game on your PS5 and it works. It's
I
complicated.
mean, unless you already have the game downloaded on your PS3.
Well, yeah, that's the only way. I think
You won't be able to delete it and then re-download it. But if you have it downloaded currently, then yes, you can still have it.
I would imagine they still. I don't know. No, actually, yeah, that would suck. That would really suck. I really wish they would get this PS3 emulation thing down, so we can just move this shit over and get over this. But they haven't. They shot themselves in the foot with the PS3. I love the PS3. They shot themselves in the foot.
It's interesting because we've talked about doing digital versus physical, what's the better outcome and things like that. And that's, I think, why, again, we've talked about this before, why accessibility and moving things to newer platforms is so important, even though people are like, I don't want to remaster, or, I'm so sick of HD. Like, just port it, man, because a lot of people can't access those things anymore.
Yeah, it's very painful. I think I would be more on board with digital if it was way more accessible. I think the Video Game Museum has reported like 50 to 60% of games are just lost forever. There's a lot that are just lost forever to time. It's really bad. Now, granted, a lot of them are shovelware and may they be gone forever. But there's that little Timmy that liked chicken shoot.
There's probably some worth in there.
maybe. I actually watched a video the other day shitting on Nintendo's eShop because they have no censorship anymore. And there is like the new releases had like 5 hentai games just like splattered across it. I'm not even kidding. They're like hentai puzzle games.
Oh, Nintendo, that feels like something you should probably take care of.
Yeah. If there was a filtering feature, it might be better, but no, it's not. Other side note, Sony is creating an Astrobot controller for the upcoming release.
Ooh.
What
does it look like? Wait, I want to see what it looks like.
It's got white joysticks. It's got little eyes on the touchpad, and it's got blue accents on the sides.
So it looks like a regular PS5 controller with eyes.
Well, the blue accent. You don't have the blue sides.
A blue accent to it.
And the white. It's mostly white. Actually, yeah, there's no black middle portion.
Okay, so I see it now. I think it's cute. It's not that different from a generic PS5 controller.
I mean, just color. I mean, that's how all controller variants go.
Right, but this isn't like, it's not like a full pink controller. They just added some blue accents.
Emily's still like loving her pink Princess Peach Showtime controllers.
I am. Listen, if you're going to get me to pay money for another controller, then it better be a really cool controller. And this just is, I get the aesthetic. It does look like Astrobot. That's cute and fun. Would I pay $60, $70 for it? No.
I'm not going to, but I want to. I have 2 controllers. I think 2 controllers for the PlayStation is more than enough. But for something like Switch, where they still have couch co-op, I think you need like 3, maybe.
I have 1 controller for my PlayStation 5, and it suits me fine.
I have 2 because I wanted the purple one.
That's understandable.
I'm shocked you didn't want the pink one.
I have not found a PS5 controller. I've not met a PS5 controller worth buying yet.
You didn't see the pink one? Hold on. Am I convincing Emily to buy a PS5 controller right now?
Oh, is it this? This is hideous.
It's pink.
Yeah, but it's like a really, and the rest of it's still black. I want like a pastel pink. If it looked like this controller, then I would buy it. Let me show it to you.
She's gotta send it to me and then I'll pull it up. I feel like actual podcasters, like the bigger podcasters, like Jesse, can you pull that image up or something? I wish we had like a guy who can just pull shit up for us, The
McElroy brothers have a fish called Mickey.
Oh yeah, she sent it to me. Hold on. Oh yeah, like, you have.
That's cute.
Oh, let me do this.
I feel like the problem with PlayStation is they're afraid to do anything that counts as cute, because they want to appeal to like the gamers, and the gamers like intense colors and black. They don't like pink. They don't want pink and white.
They got a little bit more creative with the PS4, but they still like had like the camo thing. They had the gold and they had the rose gold one, which I don't have. Where is my rose gold controller? Actually,
they don't have any like cutesy colors.
Did you had the rose gold PS4 controller too? I think.
Yeah, I did. I did have the rose gold one, but like that was as close as they've ever stepped. Was like, I guess we'll get on the rose gold trend.
I will say this. Sony has been playing it safe, I think, in that regard. I think Astrobot, even though this is not the first Astrobot game we've ever had, there was a VR one. I think Astrobot is going to be the thing that rivals Mario, finally, after all this time.
I think so, too. Speaking of the Astrobot controller, it's like... Okay, to bring back to, like, the different consoles. Okay, yeah. Like, sorry, I've started Googling all the PS5 controller variants. They're boring. And you say Sony's playing it safe, but you know what a safe bet is? A pastel pink. Do you know how many people would buy that pastel pink?
It'd be gone in a heartbeat. It'd be gone so fast.
Anyway, to jump back to console wars and talking about controllers, do you know what was a cool controller design? As much as we kind of mocked this game, the Starfield controller.
Oh yeah, dude, Xbox.
The controller looks sick.
Xbox has always had great controller design and colors. They have so many good ones. They actually are like, oh, we're releasing a game, might as well release a limited time controller with it. They have such good ones.
Are so cool. Or like then look at Nintendo with all the different like Joy-Con aesthetics that they have. They're not afraid to do, like, they have 3 Zelda variants.
I think there was a Kingdom Hearts DualShock 4. I can't remember though. I think there
was actually a Kingdom Hearts PS4. I saw it in Japan.
Crazy enough, I don't think we're ever going to get a limited edition PS5 because they're just going to release faceplates, which is fine. I think that's better. I think that's better overall. But
I simply can't care because I know they're not going to be pretty. I'm sorry, like the white.
I hope they prove you wrong.
They're going to offer me. I mean, I have zero faith. So yeah, I guess my thesis is that Sony does not like to have fun when it comes to their controllers and their console aesthetic.
Before we move on to the last story, I want you to look up the Sonic and Knuckles Xbox controllers. You'll know when you see them.
Xbox controllers. I can't wait to see these. Sorry, the first thing that popped up was a link from Reddit that says, did anyone ever get those furry Sonic controllers?
And that's it. Those are what you're looking for. Those are real.
Like somebody killed and like, out of a Trolls doll. And like, or Elmo even. Like, somebody skinned Elmo to make this controller.
Hold on, I gotta pull them up. There's no way I can't show them.
They're not furry creatures. They're hedgehogs. Hedgehogs are not like...
Knuckles is an echidna?
Furry. Okay, that's not a real thing, though. They're hedgehogs.
Wait, Emily. Did you just say an echidna's not a thing? You know what an echidna is a thing, right?
No, I have no idea what that is.
An echidna is a thing.
It's a spiny anteater. It's
Yes.
an unusual mammal. Okay, well, he's not furry either.
It's still no. I need us to go back for a second. An echidna
He has no fur on him. He's still spiky. He's still spiky.
I'm sorry. That was
Controllers have fur. He's spiky.
this is the funniest thing I think I've ever
My
heard.
point still stands. These controllers are incorrect. He's basically a hedgehog. Anteater hedgehog.
Anywho, last story. This one, I said the Xbox one is the biggest. This one I actually think is the biggest because it's going to have the biggest impact on release schedule for things. SAG-AFTRA just started another strike. Their new strike is on the video game industry because of course, AI. So voice actors are taking a step away. If you are SAG-AFTRA contracted, you are not allowed to take a lot of these. There's some exceptions. There's always exceptions. And I think if you're already on a project, you can stay on it until it's over. But after that, it's strike time. So it's interesting. So I know Kingdom Hearts 4 was on that list, that strike list.
Wait, there's actual proof that Kingdom Hearts 4 is existing and is like being worked on at some point?
We have a whole ass trailer for it. We won't see it for 7 years, but we have a trailer for it.
We have a trailer, but like that means nothing. That means nothing to me.
We had a Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer too, and it took, once again, 7 years before it came out.
That's what I mean. It means them releasing a trailer means absolutely nothing to me. It could be 20 more years before I see that Kingdom Hearts 4.
When did we get that trailer? Was that 2020 or 2021?
I think it was 2021. I don't think it was the year after Kingdom Hearts 3 released, but I could be wrong.
When did that trailer release?
2022.
Oh, well, it was way more recent than I feel like it was so long ago.
No, it's 2022. So, but it was April, so it's been over 2 years.
That's still, I don't know. I felt like it was 3 to 4 years ago. So yeah, okay, it's been 2 years. We have another 5 years before we will see Kingdom Hearts 4.
Yeah. So at least, so yeah, don't say we've had a trailer. So like, it's nothing. It means nothing.
We've had Sora looking real pretty, but also kind of off because he's human now, and I don't like it. He didn't have clown shoes.
What was he before?
I don't know, but no human has that big of feet.
What did you think Sora was before?
I mean, technically, he was supposed to be a lion if you look at the original artwork.
No, but what did you think the real Sora was before?
I don't know. I just know he ain't human with those big ass feet. Oh, no, you know what? No, I take it back. He's a human. He just has elephantitis in his feet. And so does the rest of the Kingdom Hearts universe.
And I feel like you have to drag Final Fantasy into that in a way.
I don't remember any other Final Fantasy characters with those big ass feet.
Have you seen, I'm not even just talking about feet. I'm talking about body proportions.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Please, Japan be horny. Japan be horny for a lot.
It wasn't even the only body proportion I'm talking about. Like the guys with the giant, like there's some weird stuff happening in that world.
Shameless plug. Watch me and Emily's last episode where we fight about Kingdom Hearts for like an hour and a half.
I actually don't feel like we're gonna fight in this episode.
No, I don't know. There's one thing I want to ask you, and then I'll let you jump into the review.
Okay.
You know our good friend. Well, he's not a friend. I wish that'd be cool if he was. You know who Childish Gambino is, aka Donald Glover. Yes. He released his new song Lithonia. It's not necessarily about the song, but it's kind of related. All right. It will make sense why I'm talking about it on this podcast in a moment. Okay.
Okay.
You know the hit game Dungeons and Dragons tabletop game.
Yes, I've heard of it once or twice.
You may have played with me at one point.
Sure.
So that song was already like big on its own because it's a Childish Gambino song. There was no question whether that single was going to blow up. There was a D&D campaign though. And apparently this party had an NPC party member with them, and the DM just played them. And this NPC was a goblin, and his name was Fartbuckle. Not much was known about Fartbuckle. Okay. They knew he liked flowers and he loves his family and he was trying to get back to his family and his friends.
He sounds like a good man, this fart buckle.
Right. Well, apparently in the campaign, the party was about to have a TKO. They were about to completely wipe out. And Fartbuckle, due to this orb, this chromatic orb, Fartbuckle jumps in the way and sacrifices himself to it, right? And dies. And so the creator of the campaign animated this to the Lithonia song, and it blew up, and every time you see it on TikTok, it just says "Rip Fartbuckle." And the best part is that Donald Glover himself acknowledged it and put it on his own TikTok and said "Rip Fartbuckle."
Pour one out for Fartbuckle, everyone. I still don't fully understand how that relates, but thank you. That was a beautiful story.
It's gaming news, baby. You gotta love it. Plus, I'm in the D&D mindset now that I finally got my copy of Baldur's Gate 3 that you can see over my shoulder right over there. So
I still have to get into Baldur's Gate. I'm like 3 hours into that game, but not very far.
Once I figured out how the controls work, I am now understanding, and I'm loving it. It is literally D&D the video game, except with visuals.
It is D&D the video game. It's fun.
Okay, now we can jump into the meat and potatoes. So I think it was November last year when I went to visit Emily. I brought her 2 games. She's only played one. This is the one we're talking about. I brought her one. You'll play the other one. I know. I brought her my copy of Super Mario Odyssey because she had not played it ever.
No, I have not.
And months passed and she still hadn't played it until she got on stream one day and started it. And while we were doing our game release schedule, trying to figure out, what we're reviewing, because we have we're starting in September, we're going to have 8-9 weeks just of reviews. There's so much coming out. Besides the point, we're like, okay, we have some space we need to fill in. And Emily's like, I got to review Odyssey because I haven't played it and it's 7 years later. So Emily, the not platformer herself, please review Mario Odyssey because my God, I am waiting with bated breath. I'm actually making you procrastinate because I'm so afraid of what you're gonna say.
I played all of it. I played Mario Odyssey from beginning to end, folks. For a bit of context, Blake said I'm not a platform player, and that's very true. Platformers are not my game. 3D Mario wise, I grew up playing Super Mario 64. Never beat it. She'll qualify that mostly because I was a child and I wasn't very good at it, and I lost interest after a while. I did, however, play, beat, and love Mario Galaxy. So this was my first step back into the 3D Mario space since Mario Galaxy, and I played all of it, and I thought a long time about how I wanted to do this review, right? Because it'd be really easy for me to sit here and dunk on Mario Odyssey because it's not my kind of game. But that's stupid, right? That doesn't bring anything of value because there are a lot of people for who this game is. I'm not going to play Elden Ring and then trash it in a review because it was hard. That's the basis of the game. That's the nature of the game. And most of you who I assume are watching this have either A, played the game sometime in its 7-year run, and you already know how you feel about it, and you don't need to tell me, or you don't need me to tell you how you should feel about it. Or you're like me, and you've not really interested in the game, and you're going to wait till the eve of the Switch 2 to play it, or perhaps never played it all. So what I want to do is, instead of just sitting here ranting about how bad I was at it, and Blake can attest to that because he heard me screaming very loudly last night as I was trying to beat it, how much I hate that game. I want to talk about what I did like and what I felt perhaps was missing that could have made it a better experience for people who don't like platformers. And I don't say that in a way of every game has to be for everyone. The things that I'm going to be talking about are things that exist inside of 3D Mario games that were not inside of this game, and why I think it kind of brought it down. So, to start, let's start with the positive. And I think this one's kind of obvious, which is just the hat mechanic is pretty neat. That's pretty fun. Getting to possess different creatures and use their abilities as your own. I think my favorite one was the T-Rex in the beginning. Although he gets tired out pretty quickly. But it just made it interesting. It made every world you learned a different mechanic and you could do something different. And it pretty much meant nothing was really outside of your limits because you could always find something to possess that could get you where you wanted to go. I remember, like, at the very end of the game when you're on the moon and you're going to the chapel where Bowser is marrying Peach, you couldn't quite reach the roof of the chapel, even though there was, like, less gravity, and I, like, wandered around the back of the chapel and found a singular frog. Just one little frog hanging out in a little crater by himself, and I said, oh, I know why you're here. Possessed him, was able to jump on the roof because he's a better jumper than I am, so there was a lot in that was really cool. I think the world designs were all really well done. Everyone was very unique, very interesting. Didn't feel like the same world over and over and over again. So yeah, there were, and honestly, there were a lot of, like, puzzles that were pretty interesting to solve, like, platforming wise, and I did enjoy, I think my favorite aspect was trying to figure out how I could solve things with what I had. And the boss fights were all very mixed up and varied, like the different strategies to beating the boss fights. Even though the controls are very simple in this game, the boss fights were still unique and interesting, and I had to, like, sit and think for a while how I was supposed to tackle each boss. And it came to me after a minute, but, like, it took me a second to, like, okay, what's the strategy here? So overall, those were some really good points. Anything you want to add to those?
Yeah, actually, so one thing you mentioned, you said there's, like, multiple different ways. You were never really stuck. You were never truly stuck. There was kind of multiple ways to fill in, like, solve a puzzle or go somewhere. I feel like it's that Tears of the Kingdom type deal as well. Like, think of all the different shrines in Tears of the Kingdom. There's not just one way to solve it. Same with Mario Odyssey, and I didn't really put those together until just now, until you said something. But, like, yeah, literally anything in your way to get anywhere, to get any moons or whatever, there's multiple ways to do it. You just have to, mess around and see what your limits are. What can you do to make things faster or cooler or more enjoyable,
Yes.
or easier if you're just tired of figuring out the correct way to do it. So
I will say sometimes you were limited by what was in that world. Sometimes there's only one, maybe two things you could actually possess, but for the most part, you could still get pretty creative with those. So on to where I think Odyssey could improve, and I have a lot to say about these. And it's not that I think Odyssey was a well-made game, and it's a good game. Oh, wait, did I pause?
Yeah, but it like caught you up and we heard everything.
Okay, yeah. I think Odyssey is a well-made game. I think it's a good game for the right audience. But I still think that for a 3D Mario game, there's elements that it's missing that exist in other 3D Mario games. And I had to, like, I've been playing this game a lot recently. I've been playing it over the past couple months, and I kept getting really exhausted from it, being like, I need to stop playing this. I get really bored kind of quickly, or it felt very repetitive to me, right? Like, go to a world, collect however many moonstones you have to collect. Great, we have enough moonstones to go to the next world. Get to the next world, collect moonstones. Go to the next world, collect moonstones. And there's no really kind of break from that. And it felt very repetitive and exhausting to me, and I got really bored with it. And I kept trying to think to myself, why did I have this in Odyssey when I didn't have this in Mario Galaxy? Because they're the same concept, right? Like most Mario games are. Get the stars you need to unlock the next space, then go to the next space. And I realized it was because I think what Mario Odyssey is missing is like meta layer to the game. It's missing a hub world. It's missing like there's so much that they could have done. Like, first of all, just letting me sit on the Odyssey for starters. Like, you get to sit on the Odyssey for the 10-second cutscenes in between worlds, but there's no real break from it. Like, imagine if they had, like, let you go in the Odyssey and you could pick up, you know, like, little characters to have on your ship along the way. Like, for example, there's that, there's the Toad who has, like, the hard hat on and, like, he has a specific name. What's his name?
Captain Toad.
Captain Toad, thank you. Who's like, oh,
real quick.
Do you want to know? Yeah.
Just to interrupt, I just either, I don't know. Did you ever go inside the Odyssey when you're parked on a planet?
You can't.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't. I tried.
Oh, Emily, you can go inside the Odyssey. You can't do much in there, but you can go inside.
What can you do in there?
Nothing. You can just go inside. Your point still stands, but you can go inside.
Yeah, but that's not what I mean. That doesn't bring any value to the game. I'm talking about, like, okay, you called him Captain Toad, whatever. Like, yeah. Right? You invite Captain Toad to be on the ship, and then you can go in between worlds. You can talk to Captain Toad, and he'll be like, oh, hey, here's a map of all the moonstones or whatever in every single world. Here's the ones we have so far. And he could give you little hints. Or, for example, after you beat the game, and this actually really frustrated me, because after you beat the game, they kind of delivered everything I wanted. You have this little hub world with the Mushroom Kingdom, and you get like more objectives or like side quest things you can do. And you meet Toadette, who is like, hey, I have all these cool objectives you can do, and if you manage to do these objectives, I'll give you like the special stars, and then you can use the special stars to redeem things, right? Like, I feel like it would have been so much better if that had been part of the main game. And like, let's say I had Captain Toad on my ship and he was like, oh, hey, you know, like, hey, Mario, we heard a rumor about like a pink toad in one of the earlier worlds. Should we go? And like, you can go back and maybe find Toadette, and Toadette comes on your ship and she will give you those objectives, and you can do those throughout the game, and you can earn those rewards while you're doing the game. And just something to like break up the constant go to next world, collect moonstones, go to next world, collect moonstones. Like, that's what I felt was really fun about Mario Galaxy, was you had this hub world that you kind of ended up loving by the end. And like, there was so much to explore and do and see, and there was stuff in the hub world that I could look at the beginning of the game and be like, I need 65 stars to get to that thing, but I really want to get to it. And then when I got those 65 stars, it felt really satisfying, right? Because I could now unlock that portion of the hub world that I had been staring at for like 50 hours but hadn't been able to touch yet. Or you could talk to the Lumas, or you could talk to Rosalina, and there was like little story times. Luigi was often on in the hub world for you to talk to. And I feel like Odyssey lacked any kind of character interactions you could be having, or any kind of like side quests to do, or just anything to like break up the main mission of World Moonstones.
I agree to a certain point on that. What I mean is, so this was my big issue with Odyssey, because you're right, hub world was needed. There was a hub world needed no matter what. If you look at Mario 64, you had, you know, the castle. Mario Sunshine, you had Delfino Plaza, which there was so much to do in Delfino Plaza. I will not take Sunshine hate in this chat. I will come for you. Jeez. Odyssey, you had not Odyssey, Galaxy, you had the giant space thing. Even Galaxy 2, it wasn't as big of a world, but you still had like a little planet you were on. It was a little more linear, but it was still a hub world to a degree. Odyssey, you didn't really have it. But what Odyssey also doesn't have that all those other games have, think about Mario 64 or even Mario Galaxy. You go to a galaxy, right? And it's like, okay, here's your objective to get the next star, right? And it changes the world in some way. Mario 64, Bob-omb Battlefield is the perfect one. For star one, you have to go to the top of Bob-omb Battlefield to beat the bomb. Second one, you unlock cannons now that you beat Mr. Bob-omb. You can access more areas and do things. With Mario Odyssey, I think my biggest problem was moonstones weren't as interesting to find. It was
Okay, wait, you touched on one of my big complaints, which was that I think there were too many moonstones, because I could go to a world and walk around a corner or hit a box and it'd be like, moonstone for your troubles. And that doesn't feel satisfying or gratifying in any way. I don't feel like I worked for it.
Yeah, ground pounding a shiny spot for a moonstone is not as big of a deal. I will agree. I will 1,000% agree. I will say, going through the 2D sections to get the moonstones, I loved that because I felt like I was actually, yeah. But like
even just like when they add a little challenge, like there's one in the Metro Kingdom that's like, there's a guy near a jump rope and he's like, I wonder if anybody's ever gotten 30 jumps in a row. And I was like, oh, well, now I know what I have to do. And I got 30 jumps and I got the moonstone. And then he says, I wonder if anyone's gotten 100. And I was like, okay, bud. And like, those were interesting and fun to get because you had to like put a little bit of effort into it. The ones where like, there truly are some where like you hit a box or you like turn a corner and it's hidden under a bridge a little bit where it's like, oh, okay, there's literally a moonstone in every shop that you can go and spend like 10 coins to get.
Yep.
I feel like the bar is so low for getting moonstones. I feel like it would have felt a lot more satisfying if instead of having to get 18 moonstones to move on to the next world, you had to get 5 or 6, and they were harder to get.
They did. There were 999 of them. They pulled the Korok thing, but with moonstones.
Too many.
There was a lot. And a lot of them, I got up to 500, I think, total before I'm like, I'm just kind of done. I do think other interesting places they did it, like they did pull a Mario Sunshine where you had to get rid of Cappy and just platform your way through areas, and I thought those parts were cool because it's like bringing back this old thing that you remember was super hard from Sunshine. But other than that, yeah. Ooh, you went behind a waterfall. Here's a moonstone. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
I feel like they did that because they wanted to. I feel like the reason there were so many moonstones is because they wanted to reward your exploration, right? Like, what's the point of going behind the waterfall if you know there's not going to be anything there? You
Purple
know?
coins,
But the
though.
problem was the game could only offer you one of two things. It could offer you a moonstone, or it could offer you the purple coins, and then the purple coins could be used to like buy an outfit or something to put in the Odyssey that you couldn't ever really do anything with. Which is why I'm saying again, if they had had this meta level to it where like you could get the achievements from Toadette, or maybe there were some special items you could find hidden, you would feel the desire to explore and find interesting things without being like, oh yay, another moonstone. Thank you. I'll add it to my collection of 250 moonstones.
I think whenever they make the next 3D Mario game, I think they are gonna make an Odyssey 2. I think it is gonna be like an Odyssey 2. I just hope they do address all these types of issues, because that's the one thing I'm afraid of if they make an Odyssey 2. I loved Odyssey. It was my game of the year 2017 because that was like the first 3D Mario game we'd gotten since Galaxy 2, unless you count 3D World, but it's different. I need them to address those issues though.
I feel like it's something that like is almost taken for granted in a lot of games, is the ability to be like, hey, I'm gonna peace out from the main quest right now and like just wander. Go chit chat with like a random side character, see what I can explore and find. And they're really like the loss of that element really deflated because I was finding myself getting a lot more bored and like, okay, I've done this for an hour now and that was great, but there's nothing else to do other than collect the moonstones. And I don't feel like collecting the moonstones right now. If like there had been other like, again, after you beat the game, Luigi, I didn't get the chance to try it. Luigi is like riding a balloon and he's like, oh hey, I got this new balloon thing going on. Do you want to like try it?
Crazy.
Like, but where were you for the last like 60 hours of my life?
Crazy
Finding
enough,
every world, riding a balloon and having like something to do would have been so fun.
he wasn't in base game. He was a free DLC that came like 6 months later. He wasn't even in the original. So
that's again like he should have been there. I should like if there was a chance to find Luigi, if they had like played out of the gate, hey, Luigi is hidden in every world with this balloon mini game that you can do or something like that. Again, would have increased the desire to explore because you would have been like, hey, wait, I still gotta find Luigi. Or like again, if I mentioned the thing about like, oh hey, Toadette's somewhere, see if you can get her, and then you find her and she comes on your ship and you can do those things with her. Just like small little things to add charm to like an overworld kind of thing instead of, you know, I think people call this the open world Mario, 3D Mario, and I see why they do, because the worlds, once you get in the world, you can kind of go wherever you want, but it is a very linear and rigorously linear, like, you must go forward. There is no left, right, up, or down.
It feels like it's open world in the way that Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 are open world. It's not really open world.
It's not, though, because I can go back to other worlds. I can, like, go back to Traverse Town and just see, like, oh, what do I do with these little postcard thingies? I've been collecting these. Should I put them in the post box to send? Am I going to get something for doing this? Oh, hey, there's this Trinity here that I saw 4 hours ago, and now I have the ability to unlock it, so I should go back to Traverse Town and do that. Like, there's the ability to notice things early on in the game that you can't yet unlock inspires a big motivation to achieve those things and then go back to the hub world to be like, oh yes, I finally, after 15, 20 hours of playing, I can finally unlock this one little area. I wonder what's going to be in it.
See,
just wanted something like that.
The thing to mention there is like, okay, look at like Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, you're right. You unlock something and now you can go get this thing. I guess the best example is in Traverse Town. Once you get Blizzard, you can blow out those 4 candles and then open that chest in Traverse Town, right? In Mario Odyssey, you just have everything because it's just a generic platform. It is a generic platformer with Cappy. You can pretty much do everything from the get-go. You don't unlock things.
But that's the thing, though.
That's a problem. I'm saying it's a problem.
Marios have that.
Yeah. What? Say again.
Other 3D Marios, though, have that thing. It's not like oh, hey, this is a platformer. You shouldn't expect those things in a platformer. The other games have them.
I was on your side there. I wasn't arguing with you. I was on your side because I mean, look.
You were saying like, well, you shouldn't expect it because it's a platformer. Like this is a
No. I
platformer.
mean, you can no. You can go back like in Mario 64. You have the flying cap and the invisibility cap and the metal cap. Like those are things you have to unlock. In Mario Sunshine, each different type of Yoshi you have to unlock, and they all have different abilities and what their things can do. And you get new flood things. You know, new ways to squirt water everywhere. I can't think of anything in Odyssey, in Galaxy.
There's nothing you unlock in you're right. And honestly, there's nothing that you unlock to get like different skills. In fact, while I was thinking about this and I was like thinking about my review, and I was like, oh man, if they had had fewer moonstones, if this had been a shorter game, the moonstones were harder to get. Like maybe something. I was like, dang, am I just describing Princess Peach's Showtime?
Yeah.
Is Princess Peach's Showtime just the shorter version of Mario Odyssey, where there's only like 5 moonstones per world?
I think that's a fair criticism. Because after a while, I feel like because there were so many moonstones and you had to get so many, I can see where the repetitiveness came in. Where if for a Mario 64, oh, I'm done with Bomb Battlefield for now. I'm gonna go over to the Snow Point level and go back to Bomb Battlefield later to get other stars. Like I'm gonna go do this other thing.
Hey, is there something in the castle I can find? Like part of the castle I haven't seen yet, part of the grounds that I can find it in. Let me go see.
L is on the statue outside in Mario 64, but Luigi is not real. He did not. Oh, I guess he is real if you count the DS version. Besides the point, I'm going off tangent. Yeah, no, I 1000% agree. I think Odyssey is not my top 3D Mario game, as much as I adore it. But I know it has significant flaws like that. It's glaring.
So there's two other things I want to touch on. That again, I think really would have taken this game to the next level for me. And even though like platforming is not my thing, I think it would have made it a game I'd really like. And if Odyssey 2 implements these things, I think it could be a game that I buy. Yeah. Because I did like Mario. Actually, like I started looking up Mario Galaxy to like refresh myself before this episode. And as I was reading about like the plot of it, I was like, oh dang, I gotta go back and play this game again. This game was so good. And that would be, the story was bad. The story was paper thin.
Lack thereof.
And I know again it's a platformer. Platformers aren't meant to have like the most like intense stories, right? It's not going to be like a Baldur's Gate. It's not going to be anything like that. But
not so. We have games like Celeste, but continue. Celeste is very story heavy, but go ahead.
Like even Mario Galaxy, like there's that moment at the end where a black hole opens and all of the Lumas sacrifice themselves to seal it. And Rosalina like comforts you and is like, it's okay, they're all going to be stars again one day. Like there's a lot of like really deep moments and a lot of like heavy emotional moments. Or like if they're not going to rely on emotional moments, I feel like you have to have like funny, charming moments in like the Paper Mario series. Like, you know, Paper Mario relies on its charm and its humor, whereas a lot of them other rely on emotional stuff. And this one was like, Bowser's going to marry Peach and he came to this world and he stole their soup. He took the soup, guys. I'm like, dang, like that sucks. But like, even if I went and got the soup now from Bowser on the moon, do you really want it back? Like, I went to the moon, man. He's got it in little serving dishes. Like, people have been breathing on it and, like, touching it. And, like, am I going to be able to get that back for you? Like, I don't know if I can cure your problem. And then you, like, go to the next route and they're like, he took our cake. And I'm like, again, that sucks. I'm so sorry that Bowser took your cake. Don't know if I can do anything about that. Like, I don't know if you want it back. And, like, there's just this, you know, like, and Bowser himself doesn't really feel like a threat. So I guess all of this to say, like, it's hard to be invested in the story of the world and feel like the stakes are high when it's like, oh no, he took our soup, what do we do? Like, it's hard to be like, yeah, this is something I really want to do and something I really have to stop. Like with the Lumas in Mario Galaxy, they were so cute and they're like, oh, and I was like, I'm gonna fix this, guys, don't you worry, I got this. I don't feel the need to save their soup.
Yeah, and now that you mentioned that, and now that I'm thinking on it, we really ate with game stories on the Wii. Skyward Sword is I hate saying the only one, but it's the only one with a very substantial Zelda story. Mario Galaxy is the only 3D Mario game with a substantial story. I guess you can count Bowser's Fury now. It has a pretty, it's still your standard thing, but yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Actually, while we're talking about this, I do want to hit on one more point of something I liked in Odyssey. Something Odyssey did was it had new like species and creatures for every world you went to.
Yeah.
And that's something that Nintendo has really not done lately, and so that was exciting to see. There are some like really fun ones that I saw.
Becoming a canon was wonderful. I loved being
That was a lot of fun. But even there, like when you go to the cold place and they're like, I don't even know what you call them. I don't even know if they all had names, but like those little fuzzy dudes, I was like, dang, I like you.
The walruses?
I wish you were around more. I mean, were they actual walruses? Were they just walruses?
Well, I mean, they're Mario version of walrus. I mean, Goombas are technically just mushrooms. They're just mushrooms with feet.
Right, but they're Goombas. Like, I don't know what these were.
Oh, I mean, they have names. I just don't know what they are.
Yeah, I don't know what they are. That was something I liked. But overall, like, the story and the fact that it's like, I know they can make a better Mario story in a 3D platformer. I've seen it. They did it with Galaxy. They chose not to. And this led me down another road, another concept. And this is something I'm interested to debate with you or see what your feelings about.
Before that, I would also argue that Sunshine has a pretty decent story. And now I'm thinking on it, Sunshine has a pretty decent story.
I haven't played Sunshine, but I believe you. That's the thing that like 3D Marios are capable of having these really like fun and intricate stories. Like even the opener of Mario Galaxy, like where you're walking through the city and there's like this star parade that's about to happen, and like all of the star flakes are like falling down upon you as you walk through the city and you find a Luma, and then oh no, like here's bad. Like they're capable of having these really intense cinematic moments and like these emotional moments and these charming moments and these funny moments. But I can't really pick out as other than, I will say the exception, this was actually another thing I liked about the game I forgot to mention, the ending scene where you get to play as Bowser and Peach is like, oh, this is so cool. Like, Peach is so into it. And then Bowser and Mario both try to, like, give Peach a flower, and she's like, forget you. And they, like, commiserating with one another. That was funny. But other than that, I can't really think of a moment in Odyssey that had any kind of, like, emotional impact or, like, really large comedic effect, like Telescope Toad, for example.
Even though that game sucks.
That game does suck, but it's still funny is the thing.
Yeah.
Like Odyssey was not funny, nor was it emotional.
I mean, I think
kind of in okay.
The ending of Odyssey, I think, was the part where I chuckled for the obvious reasons of Peach being like, "Bye, bitch." Yeah. But other than that, no. I think you're right. I think you're 100% right.
And that leads me to my question, which I'm not saying this is what's happening, but I'm wondering if this is what's happening. Is the continued, I'm going to use a word here, and I don't know if it's going to land.
Here we go.
The continued himboification of Bowser limiting Mario storylines. Like, like, because that's what he's become, right? Like, he's the beefy, stupid guy.
He was like kind of himbo-y.
Not a real villain anymore. I mean, like, even in the Paper Mario series, he hasn't been the villain since Game 1, and even in Game 1, he was stupid. But like, that was the thing. The thing was how funny and stupid Bowser was. And then I feel like the more and more this like Mario games that have come out, longer series going, Bowser has continued to play the stupid, silly, in love with Peach, almost like not even the villain, but like the anti-hero. Like, even if you look at Super Mario RPG, which is the predecessor of Paper Mario, he joins your team at one point. Like, at the end of Odyssey even, like, we high-five him. We commiserate with him over the fact that we're both fighting for Peach. We all go together. Like, it's hard to take him seriously as a villain now when I'm like, oh, he's just being silly, goofy.
Bro, we go
like toast together.
We go go-karting with him every weekend. You know?
To murder you.
No, he does with those blue shells. Hold on. Like, okay. And I think I think the himboification is not necessarily right, because I feel like he's been himbified in multiple games since his inception. Super Mario RPG.
I think it started as something kind of funny, like they were like, oh yeah, what if Bowser's actually just silly goofy? And then it kept appearing more and more and more and more, and now it's to the point where, like, I remember playing Super Mario 64 as a kid, and like there's the point where you like walk through a door and you can hear Bowser's voice echoing at you, but you can't see him, and like that made me a little nervous. Or like you like go through the portraits of Bowser and they like change as the hallway changes. It still had like this ominous feeling to it, and now I see Bowser and I'm like, silly goober, you can't marry Peach. Like you go through, like when you put the cap on Bowser and like go through his mind and it's all just like photos of Peach, it's really funny. But does it make him a good villain?
So
Does Mario need a new villain?
I keep bringing this up, but I'm going to now tell you the story of Sunshine, because even more so where now I'm seeing your point and agreeing. So let's look at his story in Sunshine. The story of Sunshine essentially is, do you want me to tell you? Do you want me to spoil?
Yeah, I haven't played it. Tell me, spoil it.
Yeah. So the story of Sunshine is you're going to Delfino Isle, and there is this Shadow Mario who is just Bowser Jr. in disguise, who got his hands on a magic paintbrush from Dr. Egad, which is the same place Flood comes from. And the whole reason he disguises himself as Mario and ruins his town and Mario goes to jail is because Bowser is hiding in a volcano and pulling all these strings in the background and having Bowser Jr. do all these things. But he told Bowser Jr., like, yeah, Peach, that girl that Mario is with, that's your mom. That's your mother.
I actually have heard this. I don't know the full story, but I have heard that line before.
Yeah, essentially, like, Bowser Jr. is doing all these things, evil things for his father under the pretense that Peach is the mom, and Bowser's doing all this stuff in the background that you have to fight. And he's actually menacing and, like, manipulating and being a villain in that game. I mean, it's not till the end that Bowser Jr. is like, Peach is not my mama, is she? And he's like, no, she's not your mama. But, like, it's, he you know, is the lying, the manipulation, the pulling the strings in the background, to now, bro, I also have a magical hat, and it has fists, and I'm going to beat you up with these fists, and that's all I can do.
And then at the end of it, I feel like, and in fact, like this point, like, I feel like to compensate for that, and like, maybe we can get some images at some point and compare, because this is something I'd genuinely be interested in looking at. Is he getting physically larger with each game? Because I feel like he was massive in Odyssey, and I feel like that was to compensate for the fact that they know he's no longer threatening.
No. He was pretty big in Sunshine and Galaxy. I remember him being big in Galaxy. Hold on.
I just like want to compare Super Mario 64 Bowser with the size.
Okay, that one's different.
Of Odyssey Bowser.
That Bowser is a person who exists.
Like, this is like, it's insane. Look at this photo. I'm like posting it in your Discord. I'm like sending it to you over Discord right now. Look at this photo of how tiny Mario is. He's under the hat compared to Bowser. And then I was like, he is smaller than his foot.
Oh, Bowser.
He's smaller than his little foot.
He also, I'm not gonna lie, I hate his haircut. I know it's a wedding thing. I hate it.
I kind of like Bowser's haircut. He looks cool.
No, I can't stand it.
Look, this is so much, like, he feels so much larger. And I feel like it's almost, again, to compensate for the fact that, like, he's not a threatening villain anymore. Like, even Paper Mario, which, granted, we have agreed hasn't aged well, they tossed Bowser out as the villain after the first game. And they have consistently had new villains for each Paper Mario game, because I think there's no real threat to Bowser anymore. He's too often an ally or the butt of a joke, or
once again,
I would also at this point compare him to Groose. He's like, they're the same. He is Groose. Groose is Bowser. They're the same.
My argument in favor of Bowser, though, I agree. Bowser's Fury, even Paper Mario, even Super Mario 3D World, Bowser's a little bit bigger and more menacing, even though he becomes a cat. And there's not really a story there, but like, if you look at Bowser's Fury, Bowser, it is haunting. So I think they're trying to repair it to some degree.
I have played parts of Bowser's Fury. I did not beat it because I got bored.
what a shock, Emily.
And then I gave it to my niece.
Golly, I love Bowser.
I did play long enough to get like the Bowser's Fury part where like he turns into a lava thing and you have to fight him, I think, or you have to avoid him or something.
You have to avoid him until you can fight him.
I think I think there's gonna either have to be, I don't know. I think my problem going back to Odyssey is the fact that like Paper Mario tonally is a comedic, charming game, right? Like it's a funny game. It never takes itself that seriously. And so Bowser, even when he's the villain in the first game, being silly, goofy, oh no, he has a secret diary where he talks about how much he loves Peach, and like he rips down the poster, or he thinks he's talking to Peach and it turns out to be, that works in favor of the game because it's a funny game. It's meant to be funny and silly, goofy. Odyssey takes itself very seriously, but then it has this kind of very silly, goofy storyline of Bowser took the soup and he's gonna go to the moon to marry Peach.
He took all the things he took was just to marry Peach. I mean, if you look at all the items he took.
He did everything he took. Like, he didn't kill anyone. He didn't burn down any kingdoms. Well, he was like, I need some soup.
Hold on. He did freeze the Desert Kingdom. He did freeze over the Desert Kingdom.
That's true, but they weren't dead. I saved them.
That's true. They were not dead. I don't know if they're allowed to kill in Mario. Are you allowed to kill in Mario?
Like, took away. I think like his biggest crime is theft. Kidnapping. He did kidnap Peach, but like theft mostly.
I can get past the kidnapping, but the theft is where I draw the line.
Honestly, though, like again, the kidnapping though, like you forget about it because that's just like it happens in every game, man. It's like you can't really be like, what do you mean Zelda's gone? Of course Zelda's gone, man. She's gone.
Not Echoes of Wisdom in that one.
Oh, yeah,
Link is gone.
So I guess those were my two big things. I think it needed a hub world and a meta level to it, more to do, and I think it needed a better story with like some charm or emotional moments, something more fleshed out. And then I think this would have been a very fun 3D Mario platform.
But now we have to ask the important questions. One, what was your favorite kingdom? And I'm going to exclude Metro Kingdom because that's the basic answer.
It's the only one I
No!
I mean, I liked Metro Kingdom because I had to work. I feel like I had to work for my stars and my moons in that one. Okay, let me think about all the worlds that were.
Okay, so you start with the prehistoric.
Desert Kingdom. I did like the Desert Kingdom. I feel like that's the one where I spent the most time, and again, one where I felt like I worked for my moons. It didn't like the lunch one.
Which is that your least favorite? Would you say that's your least favorite?
That one, or the Snow Kingdom one, where I just had to like do that like race that I really wasn't good at.
I liked that one, and I also sucked at it, but I liked it because it was a diversion from the standard path. Like you had to do something else.
You needed something else to the game to spice it up.
Yeah, and that's why. And when I was telling you to play, that's why I told you to do Snow Kingdom and skip Seaside if you could, because at least it had like that extra thing. I hate Seaside Kingdom and I hate Wood Kingdom. Those two kingdoms to me were.
I didn't like Wood Kingdom either.
It was too confusing.
Honestly, I liked Bowser's World. I really liked his levels. I thought they were really fun. I liked the aesthetic of it. I liked the little bird that you could possess that you like flicked yourself further up.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want an honest answer, it is probably Metro Kingdom. But that's because there was so much effort in Metro Kingdom. Like there's like an actual kind of story happening in Metro Kingdom. And then when you get to the end of Metro Kingdom, you get like a party for doing so well and being so cool, and you get to like you get to do like the 8-bit platforming, and there's a literal song about Mario Odyssey being sung by Pauline, and I was like, this is fun. Is this the end of the game? And it wasn't the end.
I think that was another thing where they screwed up. That should have been the second to last world. That should have been before Bowser's Kingdom.
It should have been. It felt like the end of the game, which honestly is funny because then the end of the game felt less powerful than Pauline singing Odyssey to me while I like had a party with people. Like, I don't know, feelings about it, but
yeah. So I think everyone agrees Metro is just the default best world. There's no question about it, which is why I excluded it, because I mean you can become a car. But if I had to pick, because I hate Seaside Kingdom. I think I love Luncheon Kingdom. I know you hated it. I loved the Luncheon Kingdom. Yeah, Seaside Kingdom was boring. Even though they brought back the giant blooper, I did not like Seaside Kingdom. Or the volleyball mini game could go die in a fire. That
actually never did the volleyball mini game.
I was doing that for hours. You have to you can get moons by like hitting the ball back and forth 100 times.
Here's my thing. By the time I got to that point, I was like, I get it. Get the moons. So I got the easiest moons to find, and then I left.
Yeah, and that is probably the big issue. It was a little too long. I think Nintendo is on this trajectory now of story-based game have story. Game where story not important, it don't need story. It just need game.
Because there's so much heart in like the older plot, like 3D Mario games. Like, even like if platforming wasn't your thing, you could love them because they were creative and there was so much heart put into them in the characters and the story. Like, I never once felt like Galaxy was a basic 3D platformer. I felt like it was a very rounded game experience with the characters you got and the story and how fleshed out everything was. And I didn't feel I felt no emotional connection to the Cap or
Cappy.
the Odyssey or any of it.
Cap Kingdom also sucked. Like, there was no point of the Cap Kingdom existing other than to find Cappy.
No, and it was no intro compared to like a Galaxy intro to like start the game.
Or a 64.
Or a 64. Like, I need a better story. I need a better story with heart and love and spirit. The Lumas, I need something on the level of the Lumas sacrificing themselves to stop the Black Void from taking over the Earth, and Rosalina looking at me and being like, it's okay, they're all going to be born as stars again one day.
I think what's going to happen is, and this is what I hope happens for the future of 3D Mario. I hope they go the route of a Bowser's Fury, because at least there was not an overabundance of things. There was not an overabundance of stars, and it felt like a more mature way for Mario. It actually highlights a lot of the issues you brought up, even though it was a 2 to 4 hour experience. Like, it had all those things fixed in a shorter package, right? So I hope in the future they start going that route. I don't think they will, because it will cost too much money, and they don't like spending money. They only like making money.
Like, to add to my point, the most fun I had in this game was when I got to the end and I got to the hub world of like what should have been the hub world, which was Mushroom Kingdom, and I was like, I hear there's a Yoshi somewhere around here, and there's the 64 references, and Toadette has this list of things she wants me to do. It should have been the hub world throughout the game, man.
To clarify, this is the text I got this morning after she found Yoshi. Found him. I said, now be Yoshi. She sent a screenshot and said, I take back every negative thing I said. So
it was very satisfying to get to play as Yoshi. That made me really happy. But yeah, it just, Nintendo, if you're listening, I'm sure Mario Odyssey 2 is already completed because we are on like the eve of a Switch 2 announcement at this point. But if you're looking for feedback, give me a story with heart and passion, and give me a hub world. Give me something to do. And, I know I threw out the word the himboification of Bowser. I'm not against it. I'm not against the himbo. I like Himbo Bowser. I like a Groose. I like a good Groose or a good Bowser. I feel like they're very similar characters at this point. But you gotta get me invested in the stakes of the story. If I can't get behind the character's motivation and I'm not interested in why we're fighting and doing what we're doing, then it's going to be less satisfying when I'm successful at it.
I was going to add something. No, I forgot. You know what? Screw me. I forgot. It's gone. It's gone forever.
All right. If you think about it.
Oh, yeah. If we continue the himpification of Bowser, that's fine. Don't make him the main villain anymore. Keep him in the games. Don't make him the main villain anymore. Make a bigger threat every single time.
Make him the main villain. You're gonna have to put effort into it. You're not gonna be able to do something like Odyssey where he's stealing literal soup from like forks. They were forks. They were fork people. How are you gonna eat the soup?
How does Kirby fight God in every single Kirby game? But Mario just gets Bowser and a lion thing in Super Mario Land on the Game Boy.
I know it's because Bowser's so iconic, and they're afraid to let go of Bowser and move on to someone else. And that's fine, but if you're going to keep Bowser as a villain, you have to keep me on my toes. Like, you can't keep giving me Bowser kidnapped Peach to marry her. We have to stop him. Because at this point, part of me does think Peach is asking for it, man.
Let the record show that Emily said that Peach is asking for it. So.
Listen. Mario, there was a moment, Mario went to the moon and saved Peach. And we did all of that. It was so much work. I was at the end of this game that I quite honestly did not have a super fun time playing. I had beaten it. I had won. It was over. And Peach is standing there in a freaking wedding dress. And I'm standing there in a suit and tie. And I was like, are they going to get married? Are we finally going to see Mario and Peach get married? And then she, like, puts us on the same level as Bowser and just walks away. And I've never felt so disrespected in my life. And I'm convinced it's because this girl is not ready to commit to us. She does not want to make us king of the Mushroom Kingdom. And, like, she's just yanking our chain, man.
This is the biggest nice guy energy I've ever gotten out of Emily in my entire life.
This nice guy energy would be like, I listened to a Taylor Swift song, like, so I like showed interest in something you like, therefore I deserve to date you. This is like, I put my life on hold and died 50 times over and went to the freaking moon and fought you. And you keep telling me you're in love with me. You keep saying you love me, but you treat me the same as you treat the literal monster who kidnapped you. Like,
oh, who's the secret man? No, Luigi's not the secret man. Luigi is
something that's going on because there is absolutely no reason for Peach not to at least get a thank. I haven't even gotten a like. I would have accepted a thank you.
We actually get a thank you from Daisy in Super Mario Land, not from Peach.
It's superior then. Peach, like you say, nice guy energy. I would have accepted a firm handshake. Like, thanks, bud. That was some good work you did. A firm handshake. A 5. A thank you for all the work that you did to save me. Literally anything. She just looks at you and walks away.
How do you think Mario pays his bills if he's not working on plumbing while he's doing all this shit? Like, does she like reimburse him for all of his bills?
I think she makes him cake every now and again. I don't know, man, but like, isn't that the plot? Isn't that the plot of the first Paper Mario game that she like sends you a letter that's like, I baked a cake. Please come to the castle.
That's the plot of Mario 64.
Oh, is it the plot of Mario 64?
Yeah, that's the plot of Mario 64.
Okay. I was like, there's one game where she like bakes a cake, and it's like, come to the castle to eat the cake.
And that's before she was known as Peach. That's when she was Princess Toadstool. That's when they still called her Princess Toadstool. So that's how old that is.
I just like, like Peach. Piss her off the pot. Like, pick a lane. Either I'm the love of your life, either Mario's the love of your life, or he's just some dude. Because, like, I'm telling you, if I went to the lengths I went to for someone, like going to the moon and sacrificing my life, and I didn't even get a thank you, done so. That friendship is over.
On that note, I think it's time to wrap up and go to after party.
I have nothing else to add to Odyssey. I will consider Odyssey 2 if it looks like it's had some additions made to it. If you are listening to this and you haven't touched Odyssey yet, and if you're one of the very few on this planet who is like, maybe I'll wait till it's cheap, because it never will be.
It never will be.
Nintendo. Or you're like, hey, my friend maybe could loan it to me. If you are a platformer person, this game is you're gonna enjoy this one. If you're someone who likes a more fleshed out experience like Mario Galaxy, you could probably skip this one. If you have already played this game, then you know I'm right on the things I said.
I think for the most part I agree. I had more fun with it, but that's because I go into Mario games for gameplay and not for story. I go into my JRPGs and my action adventure games for story. But
tell me that the story and the characters and the atmosphere in Mario Galaxy did not make it the incredible.
Oh, no. I agree. And like I said earlier, I think we really ate during the Wii, and I took it for granted. I took what we had for the Wii for granted. The Wii is my least favorite Nintendo console out of all of them.
I think it's one of my favorites.
It's my least favorite because there was so much shovelware, and there was only a handful of games that I'm like, oh, this is worth it. So Mario Galaxy.
I was handed that Wii for Christmas one year with Wii Sports, and the memory of like playing Wii Tennis for 7 hours on New Year's Eve with a friend of mine will forever be ingrained in who I am as a person.
We played Wii Bowling for hours when we got our Wii.
Yeah, Wii Bowling. Oh, and then Skyward Sword came out for the Wii, and I could use my GameCube games on the Wii. I played Wind Waker on the Wii. You know what? You want to trash the Wii in comparison to the Switch? I can play Wind Waker on one of those consoles.
That's true. She can.
Actually, I can play Wind Waker on the last 3 I guess not 3 years, but on the GameCube, the Wii, and the Wii U. I could play Wind Waker. Can't do that on the Switch, bud.
Oh, so my problem with the Wii, and this is more on, it's probably more on me. Most of the first party titles, other than Mario, I never was like super invested in. I'm trying to think what on the Wii I bought. I didn't play Skyward Sword until you made me play Skyward Sword. Remember that. You made me play Skyward Sword. What's on my shelf? Oh, I mean, shit. I didn't even play Mario Kart Wii. I was not a Mario Kart Wii kid.
Animal Crossing City Folk is on mine.
The first Animal Crossing game I ever played was New Leaf on the 3DS.
City Folk was phenomenal. Mario Kart Wii, I loved Mario Kart Wii. I had Mario Party on the Wii that I liked.
We're gonna jump to After Party because there's a lot of comments.
Yeah, okay, let's move to After Party.
Because there's a lot of comments coming in, but if you want to ever be part of these ending conversations, make sure to check us out on Twitch and now on YouTube and jump in those comment sections. We will still have the edited down version of these videos posted to YouTube every Friday, and that way you don't have to go watch through a VOD with 5 minutes of Welcome to the Podcast.
And make sure you check us out in July of 2031 or 2032. When I will be reviewing Mario Odyssey 2.
That is 8 years away.
I'm assuming it's going to take another year for the game to come out. So I just want to keep it on 7-year tradition.
Good math.
I need a 7-year gap between my 3D Mario experience.
Can we not get to 2032 anytime soon? I turned 40 in 2032. I can't be thinking about that.
Okay, we'll not think about it anymore. All right, goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye. Oh, wait. Before we go, make sure you check us out on our individual Twitches as well. Her, twitch.tv/EmilyJean33, right underneath her name. Me, twitch.tv/ The Bearded Blake Show. I'll eventually finish this Wind Waker randomizer, hopefully one day. Probably. We'll see. Okay, bye, everyone. Bye-bye.